Alright guys, Robbie Roo here with the final mainstream Resident Evil, and that's Resident Evil 5, with Chris Redfield and Shiva. I don't know her last name, but I played the story many a times because they give you tons of weapons, tons of upgrades. You see the return of an old enemy, re-graphic and beautifully nice. I am talking about the liquor, but that's later in the chapters. I have a bleak memory of the chapters because it's been forever since I played it. I know you start off in the village, and if you play the demo for the Xbox 360 when it came out, or the PS3, whichever one you have, I think both are good systems. I'm not being caught in a PS3 or Xbox 360 poll. But anywho, for lols, in the comments below, poll what do you think of the video and what system do you prefer, 360 or PS3? But now back to the matter at hand. Resident Evil 5. You play as Chris Redfield, Shiva. You're in Africa now. Now there was a lot of turmoil over this game because people said it was racist for Chris, a white male, to be shooting Africans, which are black. And people said that was racist and prejudice. Well, not mostly prejudice, but racist. Now here's my view on it. There was not a big turmoil over Resident Evil when it was Leon shooting a bunch of Spaniards. I didn't hear much turmoil about that. Not very. And Resident Evil 1 through 3, I rarely seen a black zombie. The only black zombie that comes to mind to any of the Resident Evils to me, that's Officer Marvin Burr, and every now and then you may have the random one or two civilian zombies. But other than that, Resident Evil 1, I haven't seen a black zombie. Resident Evil 2, I'm Marvin Burr. And Resident Evil 3, I don't think there was a black zombie. So, in the first 3 Resident Evils, you have a good majority of killing white people zombies. Resident Evil 4, you kill Mexican enraged people. And Resident Evil 5, you're killing parasite-infected black people. But they didn't do that because Capcom in America realized this is a big tiff. They decided to put some random Asians in Africa. And I'm guessing they're the tourists or something, because last time I checked geography, Africa is densely populated by Africans, which are dark-skinned. So, and you see one random blonde girl, and you see the average pale Asians everywhere, and you see a few African, and you see a lot of Africans in an African tribe. And to me, that sounds well, not genetically, geographically correct. You're in a continent full of Africans, which are black-skinned. You have Chris Redfield, who is an international agent, well, not international agent, but an international agency member, who is like an international police force. And basically some legal stuff's going down. These people are being tampered with through this thing, and people in America are saying this game's racist through that meaning. Now, I'm not calling it racist, I'm just calling it equal chance, because like a past Resident Evils, I don't see many black zombies, I see maybe 1 or 2. Then I see Resident Evil 4, which is nothing but Spaniards. I didn't see any random white person. Everyone there spoke Spanish and looked Spanish. And then the only time they really threw like the English at you is if you're fighting a main bad guy. That was it. You went to a random combat enemy of the game, he said something in Spanish. You go to the African enemies, they say something in African. I say Resident Evil kind of went soft, but that's because they didn't want a big lawsuit on them for being racist, or what's the lawsuit they can pull nowadays? Hate crime. Pull a hate crime lawsuit, I believe. But Resident Evil 5, you start off in a village. Before I keep getting off on these little side rants again, you start off in a village, then you move to then you go to a wetland, which basically you're on a big fan boat just going around. And this is when the African tribes come in. You're like, okay. Then you go to this weird-ass factory. Then you're on a boat. And then you're on a bigger boat. Then you're in a hangar. And then you're just like, oh. But I give it a high replay value because you have to replay it highly in order to get all the treasures, because that's an achievement, I think, on both systems. Well, it's an achievement on 360 and a trophy on the PS3 and PC, I believe. But PC, you can get trophies or achievements. It really doesn't matter because PC is a universal system. But yeah, you get, in order to get the achievement or trophy for getting all the jewels, you have to get all the jewels. Then you gotta sell all the jewels to make the money to upgrade the weapons all the way. And you get an achievement for having every single weapon and upgrading every single weapon. And if you have every single weapon in the game, and you have the ability to buy special final forms of the weapon. Like, you buy all the shotguns, you get a triple barrel shotgun that Chris can one-arm because he's back on steroids. That's another fun fact. Chris is back on steroids. But in the other games, you're like, Chris was never on steroids. This is the first time we've ever seen him bulk up. Well, if you ever look at the original Resident Evil 1 case, not Director's Cut, Resident Evil 1 normal, Chris is on the front with a light machine gun, and his arms are like, they make the Governator look small. And Resident Evil 5, it's a very unique storyline. I'm not going to bash it for that. I do like the storyline because it's like the final conflict between you and Wesker. But by then, and you find out from Krauser in Resident Evil 4, I didn't state this in Resident Evil 4, in my Resident Evil 4 post, he says, Krauser says, and I quote, "Oh, for Umbrella's sake." Then Leon goes, "Umbrella?" He said, and Krauser says, "I almost let it slip." And I think Wesker in Resident Evil 5 was planning to rebuild Umbrella, but then they made this new company called Tricell. And now, Tricell might be the new Umbrella. But then, does that mean Resident Evil's died off? Or did it just breed something new under a new company? Keeping it the Resident Evil name, but now you're no longer fighting against Umbrella since the crash in RE4. Now you're fighting Tricell, which is an advanced form of Umbrella. But who knows? You might be Tricell, then it might revert to the name Umbrella, like after a few years. Because after time, people forget. So, it's going to be till after we forget, or until they feel the characters in the game forgot. But either way, RE5, high replay value, goodbye. Very goodbye. Still kind of upset that they stayed away from the zombies, but in RE4 you got used to it, fighting all the Mexicans. Why the crap do I keep saying Mexicans? Spaniards! I keep hating when I mix up my groups here. You fight all the Spaniards, then you move, and you're a new government agency going to the BSAA, and then you find out about this through the Kennedy file through RE4, and it's just a lot of good fun. And plus, the new advanced liquors are perfect. If they ever remake Resident Evil 2, I would be so happy with the over-the-shoulder gun system. But then they'd have to put the laser in. But then again, I wouldn't mind that. So this is Robbie Roo signing off on RE5. A little poll in the comment box. What system do you prefer? Xbox 360, PS3, or both? I'll see you guys on my next video game critique. I don't know what it might be, but I'm sure it'll be fun.